summer of 1903, at the Società Esercizio Bacchini shipyard in Genoa, Italy, a sleek new steel-hulled barque slid into the water. She was christened Regina Elena, in honor of Queen Elena of Montenegro, consort of King Victor Emmanuel III of Italy. At 297 feet in length, with 4 tall masts rigged with royals above double topsails and topgallants, she was Italy's proud attempt to enter the age of the great ocean carriers. Built for Genoese shipowner Pietro Milesi, she was the only Italian-built four-masted barque of her era. Her maiden voyage under Captain Giovanni Amelio took her from Genoa to New York and then on to Yokohama with nearly 100,000 boxes of oil. From there, she entered the great web of global trade that defined the early 20th century. Lumber from Jamaica to Chile, nitrates from Antofagasta back to Europe, cereals from San Francisco to Mozambique, coal from Newcastle to Argentina, and guano from Peru to Antwerp. These early years tested both her crew and her strength. One voyage around Cape Horn took 134 days, battered by hurricane-force winds. By 1911, Regina Elena was sold for £13,000 to the famous Hamburg firm F. Lyfe, the company behind the legendary Flying P liners. Following their tradition of naming ships with P, she was rechristened Ponape, after the Caroline Islands in the Pacific. Under the German flag, she continued in the nitrate trade from Chile. But her career soon collided with world events. In September 1914, while leaving Chile with a hold full of saltpeter, Ponape reached the English Channel unaware that war had broken out. The battleship HMS Majestic intercepted her, seized ship and cargo, and escorted her to Falmouth. Declared a war prize, she was taken over by the Admiralty and renamed Bellhouse, placed under the management of James Bell of Hull. The following year, she was sold to Norwegian owners. A decade later, in 1925, she returned to the Baltic when sold to Hugo Lundqvist of Mariam, Åland Islands, Finland, who restored her original German name, Ponape. That same year she set out with a timber cargo to Melbourne, but storms in the North Atlantic nearly overwhelmed her, stretching the passage to 155 days. On later voyages she faced further tragedies. In 1928, 2 sailors were swept overboard and drowned during a storm west of Scotland. In 1929, Ponape joined the fleet of Gustav Eriksson, the famed Åland shipowner who kept the Great Windjammers trading long after most had disappeared. Eriksson used Ponape in the Australian wheat trade, and she became a regular on the long grain race voyages between South Australia and Europe. Her recorded passages included Geelong to Falmouth in 89 days, Port Lincoln to Callao in 50 days, and a remarkable 17.5 knots run during a stormy North Atlantic crossing in 1935. Yet, her voyages were not without mishap. She collided with the Estonian steamer Linda in 1931 near Copenhagen and suffered serious bow damage. By the mid-1930s, age and economics caught up with her. After carrying over 370,000 sacks of wheat to Europe in her final years, Ponape made her last cargo voyage in 1936, sailing from Port Germain, Australia via Falmouth to London with over 40,000 sacks of wheat. Soon after, she was sold for scrap to a Latvian breaker at Libau for £3,400. Her final voyage from Uusikaupunki to Libau in September 1936 closed the logbook of a ship that had spanned continents and 2 world orders. Though the Ponape herself is gone, her figurehead survives today in the Åland Maritime Museum in Mariam, and finely crafted scale model of her, built in 1937 by Captain Runa Husel, stands as a tribute to her proud lines and enduring spirit.